Hi, I'm Terrence Young, and welcome to another episode of Possess the Land. This video is going to be a little different, so hopefully not too long, hopefully not rambling too much and those kinds of things, but I got a lot I want to share with you all. It's morning for me, or nearly almost noontime, so hopefully wherever you are, sit back, relax, and let's have a little journey together. Um, so this project is very dear to me, as some of you know if you already follow me. So let me start right here. So talk about possess the land and why it's important. I have on this three-quarter, I think you call these three-quarter pullover jacket or something. And here it says Obama Presidential Center. Thanks to a friend and relationship that I have with an organization, I was invited on a pre-tour before the opening, and it was an amazing experience. So when you get a chance to visit the library, certainly go visit the center. It's not more than just a library, it's a museum, it's a campus, it's a whole bunch of things. And President Obama and Michelle Obama are well represented by this project, and so is the city of Chicago. Now, the reason why, though, I start there, and the reason why I put this on, because the construction of years ago, I worked for a bank and I had an opportunity to was asked to join a group that was making a pitch for a different site for the library. Unfortunately, that site didn't get selected, but I am entirely pleased the site they did select. Now, that selection wasn't without some controversy because there were some folks that were against it. So I possessed the land. So the foundation, Obama Foundation, decided on the site. They made the decision, excuse me. I drink a little tea here. And then there was a group that was opposed because the site they selected was some park district land, nature, and things like that. And I don't remember all the details, but it seems to me that their opposition made it all the way potentially to the Supreme Court or something, and the Supreme Court refused to hear the case, and the site went forward. But it may have caused some delays and some extra costs, legal costs, as you can probably imagine, delays and stuff. But just an amazing center. I'll get back to that and say, so you can see how possessing the land, having access to that land has made all the difference in the world. And now Chicago has a presidential center uh, that is in the neighborhood in a more of a black community, south side of Chicago, and it's absolutely beautiful. But I'll stop right there talking about the center. But I love my jacket pullover, what this thing ever is called. I love it. It's beautiful. I was wearing it, and someone said to me, "Oh, do you work?" I said, "No, I was just visiting." So let's talk about what the video is really about today. Is about possess the land, and I'm going to do a series on why buying real estate makes a difference. Okay, even though I'm going to talk about real estate from time to time, you will also hear me talk about the stock market because I'm an investor in the stock market as well too. But first, let's talk about what the series is going to be about. Then I'll say more about the stock market and why that's important to me, at least. Um, so we're going to talk about things like why buy real estate for building wealth, for income, for security, for shelter, for minerals, for recreation. I did a video recently talking about recreation, tax shelters, on and on, food production. Grow your own food. You know, my ancestors grew their food in Mississippi. They lived off the land for control, for decision making. So, all those things. But today we're going to start with wealth and income, those particular topics. Now, as I go back to and back up a second and talk about wealth, to define wealth a little bit, I did that in another video, but you know, if you look at your net worth, if you look at what you own and what you owe, that difference, if it's positive, that's your wealth. If it's negative, that's a whole nother situation we don't get into. But one of the things I'm reminded of is years ago, I did some training and I'm a certified wealthy mind trainer as well too. Imagine that. It has something to do with neighborhood, I'm sorry, uh, neuro-linguistic programming. I can hardly say the word now, but NLP for short. Okay, you know, there are people out there. I won't name a few, but there's some people out there that are doing a lot in this field and have been for many, many years. But this whole concept of wealthy mind had a lot to do with beliefs and beliefs changing. And so I'll just give you a couple quotes, and so you can help you understand this whole concept of why wealth matters a little bit, and then you can figure out if it's something that's important to you. Examples of empowering beliefs that former wealthy mind training participants have adopted. My wealth comes from the inside out. I'm really good at giving and receiving. I deserve to be paid well for my work. I am good enough to have what I want. Having money is fun. So this is the mental game of wealth and income. And some of us need to start there and think about it. Do we understand what wealth is? And two, are we doing the right things in our lives to attract wealth, to attract abundance, as we all deserve to have abundance in our lives, whatever. So the wealth aspect of this to me is that wealth is about assets, wealth is about power, wealth is about having options, is about having choice. You can hear stories all the time about these billionaires and who's the wealth. I think it's Forbes magazine that posts most wealthy people in the world every year or something like that. And I used to look at that every year. I don't anymore as much anymore. It's just not that important to me. But I will say this: uh, it's not just about having the money itself. It's about what you do with the money or what you do with the wealth. Okay. And most of that wealth, let me tell you this, it might surprise you, it's not like these people are sitting around with all this money in cash. No, they're invested in stock, and that's why they're invested in companies, they're invested in businesses, they're invested in land, they're investing in real estate, they're investing. So most of their wealth is probably held in the form of investments, not cash. Now, there's some organizations out there like Apple, for instance. I think one point in time, Apple had some 30, 40 billions of dollars in cash. I'm like, I can't even imagine that. You know, how many zeros is that? But Apple is a very wealthy company. And certainly there are some very wealthy individuals in the world. I think Elon Musk might still be on paper the wealthiest man in the world. And I would dare say that most of his wealth is probably tied up in his ownership in the various companies that he has, like Tesla, for instance, and whatever else he's invested in. So wealth is a real big deal. I want to point out another thing too as I talk about wealth, because in another video I mentioned this book, The 1 Minute Millionaire. Now, I am slowly getting myself into this book because I want to hear what this author has to say about wealth and how to build wealth, how to create wealth, and what wealth can do for me personally. But I think about wealth for in the form of individual wealth, yes, but also family wealth, community wealth, generational wealth. Um, and that I think wealth is meant to be shared. Now, that's a concept that might be controversial for some, but if you are a wealthy person, if you gain wealth, what will you use your wealth for? Will you just hoard it? I'm a big admirer of Mackenzie Scott. I think it's Mackenzie Scott, the ex wife of Jeff Bezos, who helped him form Amazon. She's given away a heck of a lot of her wealth. She's given away millions, if not billions of dollars of her wealth. And that's kind of rare. You don't see that often. I mean, you do see it, but normally the money goes to major institutions like hospitals, like government, like schools, like universities. They get their name on the building. But she's been giving money away to organizations, not for profit organizations, big and small, which is really wonderful. I worked for an organization that in the past where she gave a fair amount of money to, very impressive amount of money, as a matter of fact. So 1 Million Millionaire, this is a book. I don't get anything from highlighting books or anything like that. It's just books that are in my library. It's about how I look at building knowledge and how I look at understanding wealth and how I look at, hey, once I get all this wealth that I desire, what am I going to do with it? Okay. The other thing that I wanted to highlight for you is I talked about the stock market a little bit. I want to mention this too. I am a real estate investor. I started off investing in real estate with a couple of friends, but I'm also a stock market investor as well too. I believe like having a balanced, diverse portfolio, real estate, stock, maybe precious metals, all those things are important. So learn what you can. The first book, I remember the first book that I read about the stock market was this book, and I still have this book by Peter Lynch, Beating the Street. It's like he was a guru. I think he ran one of the funds. I can't remember the fund he ran for years, Magellan Fund. Oh, yeah, the Magellan Fund, some other funds for Fidelity. And then he kind of like set the stage for a lot of people who got interested in the stock market. But I want to stop there, stop talking about the stock market because I do, to this very day, do follow some very smart people who are into the stock market and stuff like that. And one of them is Wall Street Trapper. If you don't know who he is, look him up, Wall Street Trapper. Highly recommended. I personally follow him and take his advice as well too. You can learn a lot from that. But let's get back to real estate, possess the land. Why investing in land? And it's not just land. When I say land, you all know what I mean. I'm talking about buildings. I'm talking about houses. I'm talking about industrials. I'm talking about office. I'm talking vacant land. So wealth and why real estate is important. Real estate is an appreciable asset. In other words, what I mean by that is it can go up in value. And as a former banker, former lender, I have known people personally that have invested in real estate and done deals that have walked away with millions of dollars. That kind of impact on your life is absolutely amazing. And so if you have the opportunity to make an investment like that, it can be life changing. It really can. It can be life changing. It can change your life, can change your community's trajectory, can change your family, can change your a generation to come, as I say, this whole thing. So I'm a serious believer in the notion of investing in the land or possessing the land. And just some other examples so you can think about this whole concept of possessing the land. I talked about what happened with the Obama Center and how there was some controversy around. There was a group opposed to them building on that site, but they possessed that land. They bought that land. They built the center, and it's going to be open really, really soon for the public to come see. So wealth, so possess the land, about wealth creation, but it's also another reason to buy real estate is to buy real estate for the income that it can generate for you. If you invest in, there's a couple ways to look at this too. One of them is you can buy property and then just sell it. Some people would say flipping houses, buying and selling houses is a great way to make money. And I've known people that have done that. I've made a lot of money with it. But you can also buy it, invest in real estate for the income it generates. You can buy an apartment building that has rental apartments. Or you can buy an apartment building, live in a unit yourself, and collect rent on 2 or 3 other, 5 or 6, 7, 8 other apartments. And that's a great investment as well too. So there's no one way to do it, which is a great thing. There's many ways to look at it. So whether or not you look at possessing the land from the standpoint, I want to build wealth. I want the power. I want the flexibility. I want the options that come from wealth. Or I want to invest in real estate for income because the income, I'll use the income to invest in other things perhaps, or I'll use the income to live. I'll use the income to help my family. I'll use the income to help pay for my kids' college education, which is something that I did. So there's a lot of ways to do it. Wealth, income, two serious reasons to possess the land. And there's other reasons as well too, as we'll talk about. So, and then part of it too, when you think about from the income standpoint, is doing and understanding the types of analysis you need to do up front to make sure that the property or the investment you make is going to have a positive cash flow. Because you got income that's going to come in, but you're also going to have expenses as well too. We're going to get into that in another video and stuff. Again, thank you for tuning in and thank you for sharing your time with me as you go along your day. Think about where in your community, where in your neighborhood you can invest in real estate. You can possess the land. What that might do for you, for your family, your community, for a generation. I'm Terrence Young, Possess the Land. I'm here in Chicago, Illinois. You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on YouTube. I have a YouTube channel out there. You can find me on Instagram as well too. I hope that you will like the video, follow me, and please share the video as well too. If you've got feedback for me, please give me some feedback as well on the video. And I'm going to continue to talk about this because it's a subject very dear to me. I will continue to share my experiences, my observations. I won't say I know everything, but I know a lot. I've done a lot. Again, I'm Terrence Young. Thank you for tuning in. Have a blessed day, and I'll see you during the next video.